annual Bettie Murray Memorial from Calvert Regional Park Disc Golf Course. This tournament is brought to you by Cecil County Disc Golf and our Patreon family. If you'd like to support us, you can do so for as little as $2. I'm Dave Oster, here with Kyle VanDyke to bring you the final back nine, the last 9 holes of our 2022 season. Kyle, let's get started on hole 10. What do we got?
Yeah, the back 10 starts you off on another open hole. The wind is not really there as of yet, at least. So, again, these players don't need to contend with any of that. But wide open, nothing to really speak of. A little bit of OB on the left, but these players shouldn't really be seeing that. The rain, however, was coming down.
Yeah, weather only a little bit of a factor, and the front 9 looks like it's starting off to be a little bit more as we start off this back 9. Adam Sullivan brings it just a little bit right side, doesn't quite swing back enough. Chris Rice going with the big flex forehand, and beautiful.
That's a great shot. You'll see a lot of players play forehand to keep that right side out of play, because that right side wood line is pretty thick, and it will will kind of catch up with you.
And it looks like John and Brian playing a little bit safer, keeping away from the wood line, but leak out early left.
Maybe you'll see Adam in there contending with that brush.
Long bid for John.
Wow,
and
good putt.
Nails it. Right side chains, perfect. Casually walks to the basket like he does that every time. Brian trying to match, just a few steps closer.
Good birdie by Chris.
Rewarded with the easy putt for the good tee shot. See two
Nothing
very
really
different ways to get that
on this hole, so you're a little upset if you don't get the birdie, but as long as you get out without the bogey, you can move on.
And that is just what this card did. 2 birdies and 2 pars.
Yeah, hole 11 here. We got 2 gaps. The drone is going to be flying down the left gap, but the more common gap is going to be the hyzer around the right-hand side. You'll only see some, well, I guess Chris is going to prove me wrong here. I was going to say you'll see some mid-range forehands or some lefty shots up this middle. So once you get up towards the basket, there's not a lot of underbrush, just a lot of, not even a lot of trees, but a handful of trees. You'll see this wide tree in the middle. John took the lucky hyzer left side, but you'll see this wide tree in the middle that the players are going to try to split. Most of them are going to try to go right because it's just a little bit more of a friendly right-hand shot.
Yeah, it looks like it's really more of a decision hole. And like you said, there's not a lot of brush to contend with. Not a ton of trees if you stay in the fairway, but got to get around that center island, whichever way you choose.
And this does say 212, but I think it's a little closer to 245, 250. So this back wooded section here, 11 through, I'll say 14, players are going to be looking to get birdies. These are the easier holes on the course. The woods are fair. The woods are cleaned out. Hit your lines, and you should be finding that birdie train. There's 1 or 2 holes. There's a great birdie by John.
Another one, 2 in a row. John's catching fire now.
There's a couple tough holes towards the end, but these are the ones that you want to start getting your strokes down on.
For sure, and especially with these conditions we see up until, including this hole, 2 of the players are over par. So this stretch of scoreable holes, like you said, they're definitely going to want to be taking advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the rain, you can hear it. It stayed pretty steady for a while, so it was really. I don't think these players are experiencing it quite yet, but at a point, it's just hard to keep everything dry. Your towels are wet, your hands are wet, everything's just wet.
Right, difficult to keep the grip.
Hole 12 here. This one's one of the shortest ones on the course. Nice little forehand that just finishes hard right at the end. You see that stump in the middle there. John's gonna go over it. That may have been an ace run there, but you'll see a stump right on the right of your screen there. If you land there, you're inside the circle. Any straight backhand putter shot can get there.
Adam
I
going
think
with that
Adam,
forehand again. Yeah.
I think he just hit it, which is not a bad spot to be.
What did you say?
Looked
That's
farther away.
15, 20 feet from the basket?
Yeah, probably 20, 25 maybe. So that's the tree all the forehands are going to hit. There are a few skinny trees. You can see one in the middle right there. Ooh, half bid there from Brian.
Ooh, just off.
Oh, good putt.
Chris gets back under par. Giving Adam a run for his money as he also cashes in the birdie, keeping the score separation the same, but both under par will certainly put a little pressure on Adam.
Oh, he's off his rhythm here.
Yeah, I believe Brian finished the front nine with 2 doubles, which for any player is going to affect your confidence, and it looks like it's rearing its head as his putt confidence kind of dropping down. But plenty of holes left. Hopefully he can turn that around.
Holes left, like I said, a couple more. Got to get birdies coming up. 13 is on the fence of being one. I think it's a backhand hole. A lot of players throw forehand, but you get to this corner, fade it to the right, finish straight. Not terribly difficult, but the corner is tough to get around. A lot of players will hit the corner or just throw it a little too far. So he hit one of the early trees in the corner that you have to get around. I think that corner is probably close to two, I'd say 25, 30. So it's right in that range where if you throw something with a little bit of muscle into it, it'll flip right at that point.
Yeah, beautiful shot for Chris. He goes with the forehand, no surprise, and puts it to 10 feet, probably less. Pretty good shot for John. Maybe circles edge.
Yeah, he didn't sound happy with it, but I think
Yeah.
he'll be fine about it.
Brian going to cut the corner with his upshot. Let's get it around. If he got over that log, looks like it's probably going to be within the circle. Couldn't quite see where that landed.
Good run.
John, a little awkward footing, straddling that log, not able to give it the power.
Oh, yeah. He said he's off. Ready to get these next few holes out of the way and get to some warmer, drier clothes.
Yeah.
That hoodie's going to be pretty heavy here by the time he finishes up.
So we see the rain. What was the temperature like during the round today?
Well, it was supposed to be in the mid 50s, mid to high 50s, but it didn't feel like it got over probably 46 or 47. There was no wind, like I said, but maybe it was just the pretty heavy rain all day that made it feel a little bit colder. But I kept my heavy raincoat on all day and never took it off. So it never really got that warm, unfortunately.
Yeah, seemed like a very raw day. But these players only have a few more holes, starting off with 14. What do we have?
14. This one's tough. This is where your birdie streak ends. So there's a gap that's to the right that's pretty much dead straight. It's a little narrow, but you'll see Chris going over the creek. There's a creek OB left. He's going to go big forehand over the creek and kind of try to spike it in. There's a lot to get caught up in up there, though. John looks like he's about to attempt the same. Sounds like they like it. Couldn't tell where that one ended, but if he missed all the trees, he'll be fine. Couldn't tell what gap Adam was going for, but that's the one trouble with that backhand is with the way the disc is spinning, it'll kick you out of bounds if you hit any tree. There, V-said shows that right side gap. Flipped it a little bit, but he'll be in a fine spot.
Yeah, from this shot, the gap that Brian went for looked like the more obvious gap. Definitely less danger going over the creek. But I guess Adam even throwing the backhand, and of course John and Chris with the forehands wanted to try that forehand line. But I definitely would have gone for that right side.
Yeah, if you're comfortable with a forehand, that's the obvious play because it's, over a creek, so there's not as much of a ceiling. And unfortunately, if you get caught up like Chris did, then you're pretty much guaranteed to drop out of bounds.
Oh, good run. John also had a pretty good run just before. Good little counter roll for Adam. That could have skipped away, made it a little bit of a challenge. Good bit for
put
Brian.
himself in that tester range again.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get those days where it's feeling better at 40 feet than it is at 10.
Yep. That's most days.
Yeah.
That's what makes me an amateur too, though.
That's right. Yep, same boat.
Adam with the unfortunate bogey.
2 bogeys, 2 pars. Looked like I playing pretty much what you'd expect from that hole. That difficulty. And a little bit short of a hole 15.
Hole 15, this one's short, but it's got some teeth to it. There's a tree on the left that has 3 or 4 trunks coming out of it that will... Somebody's going to hit it. I know someone's going to hit it. John almost got it there, but it's just a soft, maybe a putter backhand shot. You can kind of get one with a little bit more stability and hit that gap that, he hit a branch. But Brian was going to the right of that tree. You can go right or left. Obviously, there's a forehand here for Chris, too. Chris will find a forehand anywhere, so. But there is definitely a forehand play. It's just a little bit more risky because you will slide past the basket. Adam showing that initial gap I was talking about. Yeah, this one, I mean, you walk up to it 190 feet and you want to get a birdie, but this is not one of the gimmies.
Yeah, a couple trees very well placed to be in your kind of natural line you want to throw. We saw Brian looked like he went up high, little flex shot, but just caught one little branch, and again, that's all it takes.
Yep, good putt by Adam. I do have a friend that has a tomahawk, or it was a thumber ace on that hole, so on this hole. So there are a couple options up high, but
yeah, I could see how that kind of shapes well. That would have been great to see. And we did get 2 birdies, so certainly a little easier than the last hole, but like you said, has some teeth to it.
yeah, I mean, if you hit your line and hit the gap that you're looking at, then it's really not a hard hole. But if you're 2 feet off one way or the other, it's tough. Hole 16, on the other hand, this one is just flat out tough. Where the drone is flying is a common fairway play because it is the widest part of the fairway, but kind of straight and a little bit to the left. I think Chris is going to show you here. There is a bit of a forehand line. It's tight, but there is a creek behind, and there you'll see Chris went over it. So there is a creek behind. So either way you play, you've got to put the brakes on at 327 feet. So you see a lot of people throw maybe a little bit slower speed with a stand up that kind of finishes flat and just continues flat until it just dies out eventually.
Yeah, that again looks like the line I would take that right side.
I think Yep. See, so that flip up to just finish straight looks like he threw it a little low, but
Yeah.
there are a couple windows down the middle. Nothing really worth going for at 327 feet. You know, those trees are only 80 feet off the tee pad, so that log is still there as a very generous disc catching tool.
Yeah, nice backstop. Got to give the players something to work with.
Something. Looks like he was just laying that one up there. Smart play.
Yep. I'll be behind him. We saw Chris win his tee shot, and Chris had brought it to within 2. Ooh, running after his disc through everything.
You'll you'll see why that's OB down there because it is just
Yeah,
a soggy mess.
but after at least the bogey for Chris, Adam's going to be extending his lead a little bit.
I hate to say it right at the end, but this is almost the make or break hole because from here on out you should be getting a couple birdies here. So this is the one that you at least want to par. Speaking of birdie, hole 17, there's a good bunker of trees right in front of the basket. But if you throw something that just kind of hyzers around or stays straight, you're going to put yourself inside the circle. Another one of the short holes. Ironically, this was the first hole that was aced on the course, but when you step up to the tee pad, it doesn't look like there's a line to actually ace it. So I think he got lucky. I think he hit a couple trees and went in, but this is a good play for a forehand throw. There's also a forehand that's a lower that plays over the walking trail. Brian's going straight at it.
Yeah, that one group in the trees, those players just trying to miss. I can't quite see what line that ace was. Maybe a big flex around it, skip in. That again would have been another fun
Yeah,
shot to see.
I have no idea. I know he said he hit a couple of trees, so he got lucky. But
Okay, a little plinko into there. That makes more sense.
you can see a couple dead ones there that will be cleaning the line up. Wow, aggressive run there from John. Just love those happy with par hoodies.
Ironically, seems to be describing Brian's day a little bit.
Yeah, he's happy with par after the few of those holes that he had. I think we can all learn to be happy with par.
For sure. Definitely a decent mindset for us amateurs, just playing casually. Don't get too stressed out. You gotta remember, this is a game we're playing. Trying to have
Mm-hmm.
fun.
Especially an event like this, I think all these guys, I mean, they may have gotten some jitters with the camera, but I think they're all having fun.
Yeah.
Everyone knows they're not making money. So, in hole 18 to wrap it up, you do have that kind of grown in area that you got to get over, but sort of an island green. There's a little retention pond in front, and then to the right, there is a fence, actually a barbed wire fence. So, I think you can just see the top of the basket. Not terribly difficult. You don't want to turn something over too much. You don't want to throw it too far right. Good forehand hole. Looks like Adam was put enough on it. So it looks like John just got over as well. You can see those white stakes down there. I expect Chris to be getting in the circle as well.
Finally, a very
Wow.
obvious forehand hole, and he
Yep.
takes advantage of it.
Yep, you'll see one tree off to the left that players are going to be aiming for.
This looks a little
Brian looks like he
wide.
may have... Oh, no. Come in.
Rolls back in.
Wow.
Very fortunate.
Yeah, that trail is about 45 feet away, so it doesn't come into play too much on a 230 foot hole, but it's very easy to do. I mean, Brian can throw it 400 and probably 30 feet, so good birdie from John. Just made it over. See how close he was to the white stakes over there.
Yep, narrowly in bounds, but brings it for an easy putt. And
Ooh,
that,
he's ready to go home.
yep, that is Brian's day right there.
Not going to be too happy with that finish, but again, I'm sure he had fun.
So 3 birdies, 1 bogey to finish out our round. Some pretty good golf we saw. Kyle, let's take a look at the leaderboard.
Yeah, O'Neal stuck
O'Neal.
up there. Finishing off, just crossing past Adam Sullivan there by 1 stroke. 6 under. Matt Tipping, good shooting by him. He played on my card. I think we had the most fun. A couple big names in there. You know, you'll see a lot of players shooting right around that par out at this course. So 6 under, 7 under. That's a pretty good score.
Yep,
Not a whole lot of people are getting a 10 under.
Tough conditions. Congratulations to Brian. Thank you everybody for watching, and thank you, Kyle, for running this tournament and announcing with me. We will see everybody. Yep, absolutely. We'll see everybody on the next hole.